Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my Facebook page, to whether you're seeing this on my YouTube channel. My name is Sarah Shulman. I'm the medical director of Reclaim Our Health Together, and what you're viewing right now is my series called What Is Series. I started this series when I was working at the Brigham and Women's Hospital when I was with the Resiliency Project. And it was often a frequent thing that people would come up to me and ask me, knowing my history in not only being a physician, but also holistic health practices, they'd want to know what holistic health practice could help them. And I realize that most people really don't know much about the practices that are out there. And so there's a whole bunch of things. If you look on my YouTube page, it's all under the What Is series. And my intention with this work is really to help you begin to embrace the idea that our bodies are here to teach us and help us find alignment. And when we use these holistic practices, we can come into alignment and find the true meaning of our dis-ease and work on that. And so the series, we talk about all these holistic health practices that can help your body find its alignment. So it's my pleasure today to introduce you to Cécile Raynor, a friend and a colleague. Cécile has her PhD in French literature with a psychoanalytic approach to the literature. She's also the founder of the BIA Process, which stands for Body Intelligence Activation Process, which she's going to tell us about. She's published author of the book called The Wise Way to Yoga, and she's also currently working on another book that she is going to entitle Body Wisdom Magic. She's a certified Alexander Technique teacher, a certified Thai massage practitioner, and she's also a certified Reiki practitioner. So lots of amazing things coming from this Cécile Raynor. And so can you, anything I missed with the introduction or?
No, that was great. I mean, everything else I'm going to present as we work, as we talk together. So.
Well, so yeah, so really let's dive into like what is the BIA process? And
so, like you said, the BIA process is a trademarked process that stands for Body Intelligence Activation Process. The foundation of this work is my 30 years experience teaching the Alexander Technique. And you could say that the Alexander Technique is the trunk of my work. And then I have lots of branches that came out of it, that and all the branches together plus the trunk is the BIA process. So just for people who don't know what the Alexander Technique is, it's a form of mind-body work that helps people function as a more integrated whole. And it has 6 principles that Alexander had ahead of his time, because he was born in the 19th century. And I mean, he was from, his life was in the 19th century. And at the time, he already discovered, so number 1, that use affects functioning. How you use your body affects how it functions. A little bit like a car. If you use your brake too often, it's going to start affecting how your car, the efficiency of the car, or the engine or something. Mm-hmm. He also at a time where on the foreground you had like the bodybuilders, mm-hmm. Working on body parts. He was promoting the concept of functioning as a whole person. One of his foundational belief and experience is that if the head-neck-torso relationship is functioning at its best, then everything else will function at its best. He calls that the primary control. as I will explain, I believe that there is more than one primary control in the body, but that's for Alexander people, that's what is believed. He also realized through his own experience that we could not rely 100% on our sensory perception. Sensory perception is what tells you if you're in your center or if you're off center, because we develop habits over time so progressively that sometimes you get to a place where you might be crooked to one side, but unless you have a mirror, you're not going to feel it.
Mhm.
So part of this work is to reclaim accuracy of sensory perception so that you do what you think you're doing, that there's no discrepancy. The process of the Alexander technique and the BIA process, of course, is going through the cycle of what we call observation, inhibition, direction. It's a cycle. You can be at a different different level of awareness of that cycle for different habits that you have. So let's say you start observing yourself and you notice, oh, I'm leaning to the left. And so then there's something called inhibition, which is not the Freudian sense. The Freudian sense is the stuff you put under the carpet, but with this, it's more a conscious choice to not engage with a harmful habit. And then when you make a conscious choice of not engaging in a harmful habits, your body intelligence organically allows itself to function better. You allow your body, you empower your body intelligence when you choose to not engage in a harmful habitual pattern. And that cycle, you just keep going through for different habits, different days. And it's through that process that you can change habits. And the last thing that's typical of Alexander technique work is understanding that that most people tend to focus on the ends, their goal, at the expense of how they get there. So we do that with movement as well. We might use our hand to hold the chair as we're sitting down, creating tension in our shoulders. We don't think that. We're just thinking, it's a habit. We have the habit of doing that. We're afraid of losing our balance or whatever it is. So learning to get to your goal, but including the means whereby you get there is very key to this work. So that's in a nutshell what I can say about Alexander technique work. And that is all part of what I do. But the BIA process is an expanded version of this that brings a wider awareness level. Alexander's mind-body, BIA process is mind, body, heart, and soul work. Alexander believed in the primary control, as some teachers will only work on your head, neck, torso with their hands when you have a private session. Whereas I believe that there are 5 key relationships in your body that are all as important from head to toes. And those are the 5 key relationships I cover in my course when people take my 7-week course. And it's the relationship I cover when people take a private session, So that's one thing that's critical. And I also, especially with the body wisdom magic, and enhancing that, I'm combining or the 5 key relationship with the chakras, in the sense that the head, neck, torso relationship has a lot of chakras in it. So does the second key relationship. So does the third key relationship. So yes, so I make people become aware of, when you're helping this, you're not just helping your posture, you're not just helping your functioning of your body, you're also enhancing the functioning of your chakras.
Interesting. Well,
Yeah.
so For people that don't know what chakras are, can you
Yeah.
just explain a little bit about that?
Yes, so that comes from the language of yoga, and there's energy centers in the body, top and different parts of the body, and these. So when, let's say, if you have a tendency to crane your neck like this or compress it back, you're affecting the throat chakra,
Mhm.
and you can try whatever you want to help your voice and your throat, but if you don't address the head neck torso relationship, you're not going to be able to heal that throat chakra to a maximum, to where what it could be. So that's an example.
Very interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
So is that the completion of what the BIA process is, or were you going to?
No, so now there's more. So first of all, in the BIA process, I also make a lot of very unique distinctions. I think sometimes that the world is suffering from a lack of distinctions. There are distinctions people don't make, but once they become aware of it, they're like, wow, what a difference. So I make a lot of unique distinctions. I also, um, I don't work just with the body parts so that they work harmoniously together, but also when the need is there and the student is open, if I sense that we need to work on psyche parts, then we work on psyche parts. Or if we need to work on how people use themselves in the world or in their relationship, or so there's many different layers of work where we can add more integrated functioning, and I kind of play it by ear depending on the student, depending on where they're at. So it's integrated functioning of body parts, but also integrated functioning of mind and body, integrated functioning of psyche parts, integrated functioning of the body with the earth energy, integrated functioning and integrated living in communities and within the world at large. So as you can see, it can spread in many different directions depending on the needs and the openness of the students. So that's in a nutshell.
That's so interesting. Yes, well, I mean, I've started working a little bit with you and kind of trying to understand how it can benefit, and I think that's so fascinating that your description of the throat chakra, because that's what I have been working on for some time, and
Mhm.
of course it makes sense that if the way you're holding your body is going to affect the chakras. So interesting. So can you, like, I think one thing that people really have trouble grasping is like, well, why would I go see someone for a BIA process, or what conditions can it help, or that kind of thing. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. So first, I'm going to answer the question for the Alexander technique, which the British Medical Journal has actually a little video, which is on my website. Excuse me. And they claim that the Alexander technique is the most efficient way to improve posture and handle back pain and neck pain and things like that because of the lasting results. They compared it to other modalities, including massage therapy and physical therapy and all that, but they found that Alexander work had lasting effects,
Mm.
and they recommend that. I personally work with people who tend to come to me usually have had lingering tension, chronic tension, or pain that they've tried a lot of things. They've tried, like you will see when I read a testimonial later, they've tried everything, and yet the problem doesn't clear. Sometimes they get partial results, but they're not lasting, and sometimes they don't even get any results. So because they are the kind of people who tend to work on themselves, have a self-care, they keep looking until they find somebody who's going to help them. And that's how they find me. And I help them usually with muscle and joint chronic tension or pain, poor posture, headaches, in terms of the body. But then it could be sometimes connected to other dimension, as I said. So then we make the connections. But usually going through the 5 key relationship can really help people clear a lot of chronic tension or pain, because most people have no clue about functioning as an integrated whole. It's not something that yoga teachers know about. It's not something that trainers know about. Everybody's focusing on body parts.
Mhm. Mhm.
And there's a way that you can, when you focus on the whole takes care of the parts. But when you focus on the parts, you might be doing something that's good for one part and harmful for another, even if you don't feel it in the moment. So that's why it's really important to work on the parts through the whole. And that's part of what I teach.
Right. And so how does it work for people who have acute pain? Is that
It works for anyone who's interested in doing this work. However, usually people get to me before they have like a super acute, usually they have pain that's affecting their life. But I think when somebody calls and they're in such acute pain that they can't even move, then usually I recommend them to go see somebody else that's going to at least temporarily take a little bit of the
Mhm.
acuteness
Yeah.
off. I do teach them how to do a practice at home that could already help. And sometimes just practicing that makes the difference. But since my work has a lot to do with moving, not in a muscular way, not anybody can do it. It's very basic, simple movement. But if people can get in and out of a chair easily, for example,
Mhm.
even after they have one session and I give them some tips how they can do it more effortlessly, then I would definitely recommend someone else temporarily. But or at the same time, it all depends,
Yeah.
But
Right.
um,
Can you tell us a profound healing experience that you've had or with someone or
yes, so I'll give you one of my most intense experience that I had. I had been teaching the Alexander technique for a while, actually, when it happened. And I woke up one morning with a nerve pain going up my back. My head was stuck to the left and my hip stuck to the right. And I was like that. And of course, I panicked. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm an Alexander technique teacher. That can't be happening to me. And why did it happen to me is because it was about the time that I had started writing a blog.
Mm.
And my work doesn't keep me behind a computer. But since I started writing blogs and my book, and I've been behind a computer much more. And being behind a computer is not the real problem, but how you use yourself while you're in front of the computer is. And of course, I was so into creating those new blogs and all this, I wasn't paying attention.
Mhm.
So I panicked. And like most people panic, I went to the chiropractor, to the physical therapist, to the massage therapist.
Yeah.
6 months later, and a few $1,000s later, I I still had my head to the left and my hip to the right, and I really didn't know what to do. I have a frog in my throat. So I remember thinking, what would I tell a student of mine who has that same problem? And I heard my own voice answering, watch yourself like a hawk and practice what you teach. And basically, I realized I had not been watching myself. And within 24 hours, I realized, oh my gosh, I'm leaning on the left like this when I'm at the computer. And then in the evening, when I go watch a movie, I'm leaning on the left on the side of the couch. So progressively, my body got off center. At some point, it clicked and it had, Leonardo da Vinci said, if you don't listen to the whispers of your body, it will yell out loud.
Oh, yeah, that's good. I haven't heard
And
that. That's for sure.
that is what exactly what happened. I got so involved in writing my blogs that I was not listening to the whispers. And at some point, my body yelled out loud. So once I realized I was doing that, of course, I stopped doing that. And but remember when I was talking about observation, inhibition, direction?
Yeah.
So every time I wanted to do that, I would be like, no, I don't want to do that. And then I would activate my body intelligence, which is really a key factor here in the healing, which has to do with kind of letting go in my body without collapsing down. And within 48 hours, I already was feeling better. And within a month, cleared completely without going to see any other practitioner, without doing exercise, without doing anything, just that.
Wow.
So I remember thinking, wow, this really proves to me, because I've seen a lot of people I worked on, but like I experienced the magic of this work.
Yeah. That's
So
so
that is something that exactly that when you know how to activate your body intelligence, you can do miracles, really.
amazing. Wow. And
Um,
so, yeah, do you have another?
yeah, so I mean, there's more to that story, but like that's the basic, enough. And the other one is I just want to, instead of me telling you somebody's story, I have a student who just recently posted a Yelp testimonial. So anybody can go and read it if they want to, but I'm going to read it to you right now.
Oh, great.
And David said, back pain had been my daily grind for 4 years. Whether upright or lying down, the pain never ceased. After many acupuncture sessions, weekly massages, daily stretching exercises, many months of twice weekly chiropractic, and 3 months of physical therapy, and a last resort visit to the spine center where they prescribed a common anticonvulsant and nerve pain medication, which I took for about 3 months.
Wow.
I finally, by luck, saw an ad for Cecile's work in Natural Awakening magazine. By the end of my first session, I knew we were diving into things no one else ever had touched upon previously. By my third and fourth session, my back pain, which had been so deeply entrenched, began to lessen. By explaining how to get back to my own body's intelligence and postural mechanism, awakening me to what my body was supposed to have been doing all along, but got sidetracked, I am and have been for many months pain-free. Cécile is one of those rare practitioners intent on getting to the root of the issue. I'm so deeply grateful our path intersected and I am able to lead a life devoid of back pain.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Well, that's really, I mean, there's so many people suffering from back pain these days. So that's really cool.
And of course, the type of back pain I help people with that to do with, like I say, how they use themselves in everyday life. If somebody has a back pain related to a liver malfunction, or
Yeah.
it's not that it won't help, it can help because most people misuse their body anyway. So it could lessen the problem, but it may not clear it if it has to do with another medical condition.
Right.
But if somebody's most people who come to me, they're fairly healthy, but they have that lingering, tension or pain that no one else can seem to help with, and that's because integrated functioning is not a common concept that people study, not in med school, not in
Right.
massage school, not in yoga school, nowhere really.
Yeah.
And I have developed a very practical way to teach people, which is another thing, because the Alexander technique sometimes, just like there's different kind of yoga teachers, there's different kind of Alexander technique teacher, different school of thought, and sometimes it can be a little abstract for some people. They're but I'm very practical. That I had a training where it was a bit abstract, so I promised myself once I teach, I'm going to make it really practical. So
And so tell us what a typical session is like, and then the teaching, like how does that?
Yeah. So when somebody comes for a private session, it can be online or in person. There's advantages to both. Obviously, you get the maximum when you eventually include in person, because then you have my hands. But because it's a lot about a new mindset, really you're changing mindset about movement and posture and all that. I get a lot of good results also with online private session, and I do the same thing similar. So we start with chair work where people get in and out of the chair, and I help them become aware of unconscious habits that they have that are promoting the problem. So, for example, so many people have posture issues and they'll go to yoga and they're going to do shoulder openers. But I've never met anybody who improved their posture off the mat by doing shoulder openers, because what you do on the mat what you do on the mat cannot stay because you're focusing on body parts. The minute you're off the mat, the synergy of your whole body brings back the habit.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so people develop unconscious, and so people may have poor posture because of what they do with their knees when they're standing. But if they keep focusing on the shoulders, they're not going to solve the problem. So we do chair work, so that we can both discover what are the unconscious habits this person is having that are fueling her tension and chronic pain. Often people come to me, they have the pain, but they're very disembodied, they're very much in their head. So sometimes my work is first helping them to be more embodied so they can perceive things better. So anyway, we do some chair work the first half of the session, and then the second half they go on a massage table, and then my hands, both on the chair and on the table, my hands activate their body intelligence, and part of my work is to teach them to do that for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually, when they have all the basics, five key relationship and all that, then we can apply all these to specific activities, whether it's playing an instrument or whether it's dancing or it's playing the piano or being at the computer. We can driving, anything we can apply it to.
So how many sessions do people usually come for?
So that varies really. It varies on where they're at when they start with embodiment. It depends on how fast they learn. It depends on their budget. It depends on how much they want to get from this work. Some people, they'll sign up for like a pack of 10 sessions, and they're going to find, or for a course, a 7-week course, and they feel like, oh my gosh, it cleared their main problem and they're happy and that's all they need. But often when you clear the pain that people feel on top, there are other layers that need to be addressed to make sure that you're not getting that problem again. And so some people understand that, and then they study longer so that we keep backtracking, so that they're farther and farther away from any kind of pain coming to the surface. When people take the online version, I can still get them through the same movement, because even when people are in person, I don't always put my hands on. I'm a proponent of having people move their regular way so they experience what that feels like, and then I give them a little tip to move differently so they can feel the difference.
Mm-hmm.
So I can do this online as well. I can see what's going on, and I encourage them to feel their regular way, and then I give them a little tip. And So we do that. But the difference is, instead of them going on my massage table, I've developed a whole series of what I call mindful movements for poise and health. And it's a series of movements that they can do on a yoga mat that bring about a similar benefit than my hands would. And so in every session, that's what we do. We do an online session. We do both. Students who've been with me before COVID and had my hands, and then they started again on Zoom. There's some of them are still on Zoom because they loved the fact that they felt it empowered them more, because they don't depend on my hands.
Yeah.
But people who start with online, sometimes they need to complement with a few in person if they can, because then they get a different kind of help. So
Awesome. Well, so coming to the end of this wonderful interview, thank you for teaching us all about this process. It sounds amazing. If people, so you're in the Boston area, if people wanted to contact you, how would they do that?
So it's very easy. First of all, they can contact me if they remember my email address, cecileraynor@gmail.com.
You can put it at the bottom of this.
Yeah. And then, or they can go to my website, which is cecileraynor.com. So I make it very easy for them. And then they can see all the different, there's something called What's New. So if I have a workshop, like I have one coming up on, an online workshop coming up on January 19th, which is called Healing Chronic Tension or Pain with a Unique Approach. So it's a 2-hour workshop, experiential workshop. So people would get a chance to experience some of what I'm talking about. And then in the spring, beginning of April, I will launch my 7-week online course again. It has 2 components: 7 pre-recorded training that people do in their own time, and 7 live coaching session where I can answer questions and give them personal feedback. So that will be starting again in April.
Great, great, great. Well, so I mean, I can only imagine if people see this video, they'll and have chronic pain, because I know so many people with chronic back pain that it's great to, why not try it? That's my attitude about all of these What Is series. Like, try it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But
that's why I do those online. This one is a 2-hour experiential, so it's a very small fee that anybody can afford. And then if they get the gist of it and they get a benefit from it, then they have options to either take private session or the 7-week course, or there are options. And if people are into yoga, they can buy the Wise Way to Yoga book. I mean, there are really lots of options for people to get a taste of what I'm doing before they commit to something, if they like it.
Great. Yeah. Well, so I'm thrilled that you came on and taught us about this process. And I hope for anybody watching who has back pain, reach out. You can reach out to me or Cecile. All the information about what we talked about will be at the bottom of this YouTube video. So thank you for watching. We hope that this has been helpful, and we look forward to.
I just want to
Yes.
Reiterate that it's not just back pain, it's back pain, neck pain, joint pain, posture,
Yes.
headaches. It's yeah,
yes. All sorts of pain.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you for clarifying that. So thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.